Okay, we're recording. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to Health Majority. Really happy to have you with us today. I'm Shannon,
And I'm Shae. And
and yeah, we have a really great show for you today. We're gonna start us off with Shae. Shae's gonna take us through a little bit of breathing exercises and setting some intention. And start us off, Shae. What do you have for us?
okay, so just to begin, I invite you to arrive exactly where you are and just begin tuning into your breath. I'm going to guide us through a grounding meditation today. And just notice your breath. Notice if there's any areas where the breath feels stuck. Send some extra love there. And relax your shoulders away from your ears. Soften the space between your eyebrows. And allow yourself for the next few moments to just be. Whether you're sitting or you're standing, imagine roots are coming from your feet or from your bottom and grounding you into the earth below you, penetrating any layers of materials between you and Mother Earth. You are connected. You are grounded. Naturally, when we watch the breath, it begins to deepen. With each inhale, your roots grow longer and stronger. And now let's take 3 conscious inhales and exhales to release anything that is no longer serving you. On the exhales, watch that energy that isn't serving you release from your body into your roots, being recycled back into the earth. And one more inhale through the nose. And exhale audibly through the mouth. You can flutter your eyes open if they were closed. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through this short practice today.
Thank you so much, Shae. I love when we start with the breath because, of course, everything starts with the breath. And I believe sometimes we forget to breathe. We just breathe in a really shallow manner. And I think we miss out really cleansing the body when we fail to take those full, deep breaths. So thank you so much for starting us out with that today,
Yes,
Shae.
you're welcome. It's something that I have on my altar that I read every day. And I said this in the last episode as well. And you'll hear me say it again and again and again. It's just that the rhythm of your breath is the rhythm of your life. If you're taking short, choppy breaths, well, then that probably is what am I trying to say, reflection of what's going on in your life. And so it's just so important to take those deep, slow, long breaths to allow you to really be rooted in the present moment.
I love that. It's almost like the idea of, do you take tentative steps about your life? Do you just go through life taking just very short, little choppy steps where you're just sort of waiting for other things? Or do you take deep breaths of life? Do you take deep chunks out of life? Do you
Yeah.
breathe in the experience? What do you notice around you on a daily? Are you really noticing? Are you grateful? Are you really taking life in? So I think like learning about the breath and how to breathe correctly helps us get to that point where we really are able to take those big steps in life. And this kind of really does segue nicely into our topic today, because today we wanted to talk about what are your gifts? What are your talents? As far as this topic goes, we really want to dig into really what this means, because I know a lot of times when we think about, like affirming your own gifts and talents to yourself, a lot of times we're not that good at it. We're not that good at noticing or recognizing what actually we have that we should be grateful for, because we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to others and wishing we looked like them or had their life in some way, had some characteristic that they had. We've decided in some strange way that that would be better for us. But in reality, when we really start to honor ourselves and recognize ourselves and for all of the talents and gifts that we are given, that's when we can expand those gifts. So I do understand that it goes back to self-worth, in my opinion. I remember and I have a real distinct memory of this, and I'm somewhere around second, third grade. And our teacher was having us do an assignment where we had to write out all of our talents, our list of all of our talents. And I remember sitting there thinking that I didn't have any. And I was kind of devastated, my little kid self. And I'm so sad for myself now to think about that
We
memory,
love you.
because
Great, Shannon.
I was extremely talented. I really was. Like, I was smart. I was a great reader. I was good at art. I was friendly. And here's the whole other thing. A lot of times we don't consider certain talents to be talents. If you have a gift for compassion, for example, it's not as if you're rewarded and people are like recognizing that as a talent. A lot of times, sometimes compassion almost feels like a little bit of a vulnerability, right? Almost like a weakness, somewhat. Like all you empaths out there, I know you feel me on this, where you're like getting the other's emotions. It doesn't feel like a talent. I do think we have to really consider, when we think about what are we good at, what have we been gifted with, all of those things that we haven't normally thought about as talents. That's what we have. So if I could tell my little kid self something, I would remind her just how absolutely amazing and divine that she is as a being. And I would tell her about all of the wonderful, beautiful gifts that she has, and her little lovely heart, and the hope that she carries around, and her optimism, and her ability to adapt, and her strength and her resilience. All of those things were talents that were just utterly unrecognizable to me at the time. So I feel like this, again, it goes back to self-worth. What do you think, Shae?
Yeah, everything that you were saying, I'm just giggling over here because I had such an opposite experience.
Yes, you did.
As a kid, it's like anything I did, I thought was like a major talent.
Everything.
I'm winking, that was a
Everything.
talent. I'm hopping on one foot,
My
that's a talent.
goodness.
And it's like, just thank you, first of all, because this is generational trauma that you broke with me. You know, it was you weren't feeling seen or heard as a child. And I had a very opposite experience of, I really, really found myself talented in
Many ways.
like,
For anyone who didn't know Shae growing up, and she was a little girl, she worked on her talent. She would say that these are my talents, and you would actually call them out as your talents. You would try to perform as many as humanly possible at once. So she would wink, whistle, skip, snap, not skip, or like jump around in a circle, whatever, like all at one time. And that was her talent. She was really proud of that. So like, you're so right. But I felt like when you were doing that, I really wanted to encourage it, because maybe because of feeling like I didn't have anyone when I was a kid. Who knows? Like, who knows? You were just like a little beautiful ball of sunshine though. And you just like were so happy to share your talent. So what did that do for you? Like, what did that do for you, thinking and feeling like you were talented?
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you were talking about the moment that you had in second or third grade with writing your talents, I was having a flashback of this moment when I'm in second or third grade, and it's you and your friends and all of our family members, and we're playing Shae Says. And I'm standing up on this, it was like a little bench in front of our window, and I'm standing there and I'm just like doing all these crazy things, making everybody copy me. And then I'm having thoughts of, I've heard stories of when I was a baby, I would raise my hands at the dinner table and not put them down until everybody else
It's
would
true.
raise their hands. And
We
I
had to
have this
comply.
idea of, I have been a space holder for as long as I can possibly remember. Because that's
It's
what I'm
true.
actually doing during those moments, is just like holding space for everybody to like, stop, raise your hands, or like, stop, let's do this
It's true.
floaty.
Let's be
No,
present in this moment for a second. You're so right. You have been so good at that.
I have been holding space for quite a while. So here's your sign, dear listener. If you're having troubles thinking of what it is that your gifts that are embedded into you and into this soul, just take a trip down your childhood memories and just recognize what came so easily to you. What did you love to do? What were some things that you felt like maybe were crushed or stifled by other people that you can now, as an adult, hug hug your little child self, and your child work is so important, and
Yeah.
kind of revisit those now that you have the space to explore them.
A lot of times we don't recognize the things that come naturally good, easy to us.
Mhm.
And we sort of think that everybody can do that. So we don't count it as a talent. We don't even think about it that way. We really downgrade ourselves a little bit. So I think that that's part of what we can really explore within ourselves, is to find out what does come easy to us.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost like the idea of like somebody who has naturally really good handwriting. They probably naturally do, but no doubt because they've naturally been good at it, they work at it and it becomes something that they have as a talent. And so maybe they look at somebody who has bad handwriting and think, why don't they just write better? But they don't understand that that's not something that comes naturally to that person. That person could work on it and work on it and still not and be great at it. It
Yes.
like brings me again back to this other memory. Now I'm maybe like sixth or maybe fifth, sixth, seventh grade. And I played soccer. This is the only sport I ever played, like organized sport I ever played at that time. And I would be in my yard kicking soccer balls and just running around and really trying to practice, really actually trying to get better. But I'm just not naturally talented like that. And I'm kind of a slow runner. So it wouldn't matter like how good and how much I practiced. I could only get so good at it. So again, this sort of contributed to my thought that I wasn't good at things. But it's not that. It's just that, and there's no doubt I could have become a great soccer player, but I gave up on
Yeah.
myself. I gave up because it wasn't coming easy. It was easier to do what I'm good at, which like is read books. And so like that's not a talent that's generally recognized. So like I could like work the library like Dewey Decimal System. How about that as a talent that doesn't even exist anymore? But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like I lived in the library, so like I could find a book that like that's not, again, not really a talent. That's too useful outside too many spaces. So I think we have to just pay attention to that and recognize that. And our society needs to do a little bit better job in calling out those talents amongst our kids. Because I thought because I wasn't good at sports, so to speak, and I didn't have a physical talent, that meant I wasn't talented. And nobody was bringing those other things up.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about, hey, are you a good friend, for example?
Right.
I mean, people like that are just generally good friends and they're thoughtful and they always show up at the right time. And they give you the thoughtful gift and they say the right word. And you're like, oh, wow, nice friend. I wish I was that good of a friend. That's a talent that person has worked on and they're putting energy into that. And we're not necessarily counting that. So um, notice also those things that make you feel joyful, because I really also feel like that's a little bit of a key to it. I have this book called Deep Creativity. I'm going to call the author out, June Maker. See June Maker. Oh, no, sorry. Dang it. That was the forward. Victor Shamas. Sorry. Let me just actually get the right author on here. Victor Shamas wrote this book called Deep Creativity that really goes into this, really the process of how we go about being creative. And why I really pulled this book up is because outside the idea of like, what is our talents and gifts, part of developing all those is this idea of taking it forward and actually taking action on it and cultivating your talents,
Right.
because we've been given those gifts for a reason. And when we don't recognize, we don't take action on those talents, we don't expand them. And then again, it sort of feeds into this idea of that we don't have any. So I just want to read this little bit of a quote. This quote is from T.S. Eliot. And he says, only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. And I like that quote because it just makes me think about all of the limiting beliefs that we set up for ourselves when we tell ourselves we can't do things. And we tell ourselves that's too far. I don't want to go too far. I don't want to push that boundary. I don't want to. I'm afraid of what will happen. I'm afraid what people will say. I'm afraid what the reaction will be. But
Or how
at the
I
same
haven't
time,
done this before. I haven't done this before, and so I
I
can't.
haven't done this before. How will this turn? I might fail. How about that one?
Yeah.
I might fail. And so when we let fear stop us, when we let these limiting beliefs stop us, we actually stop ourselves from developing the very thing that would probably give us a lot of joy in life and really probably boost our self-esteem like crazy if we allowed ourselves to go too far in that. And we just dove in. We just literally dove in with it and just went for it. And regardless if anybody else notices, the universe sees what you're doing. And if you have that joy for it, I really believe that the energy will expand, and it'll get you to this place when you really are expanding your talents and you either create or do something that is connected to your talent. What like a boost it gives you. Do you know what I'm saying? Just an amazing just feeling inside of just validation.
Yes. And especially when you're able to take your gift and then serve others, which is what I truly
Wow,
believe
yes.
we're here to do, is just to serve our fellow humans and to raise the vibration of everybody. And so when you can tap into your gift and then give it out to the universe, oh, there's no way the universe isn't going to be on your side. You're going to have everything that you want and desire. And that just leads me to say everything that we're talking about comes back to what are you saying to yourself? What kind of language are you using in your daily life? I just think about how many times I've been told, like, I'm too sensitive. Like, I'm just too sensitive. I cry easily. Like, I'm sensitive to my environment. Well, guess what? That is part of my talent and gift. I am sensitive, and it just gives me the ability to go into a space and redesign it so that people who are unconscious to their space don't really think about it. As soon as it's cleaned up, guess what? They start feeling a little bit better. And because I am super sensitive to it, I can walk in there and notice, hey, this isn't how things should be placed or cleaned or whatever. And so that is just one of my talents, is like, think about the things that you've been criticized for and then spin them back into how is that your actual gift in this life. Because it's not a bad thing to be sensitive. So all my sensitive beings out there, I'm with you. We're in this together.
Yeah, it's so true. It reminds me of something I used to tell your sister Cassidy all the time. When she was little, she was quite stubborn. You may know this about her still. Hello, my dear, I love you. I would say to her that her stubbornness was actually her gift. Because she could lean on that when she doesn't want to budge. She won't. And we know this about her. That is true to this day. When she doesn't want to budge, she will not budge. And that's a gift. And even though something like that may not always feel or present that way, and if you're trying to talk her into something, it doesn't feel
on the other side of things.
right. Like when you're on the other side of trying to get her to move. But like at the same time, if she has your back, she's not going to budge either. So like, there you go. Like if you need her to stand strong on something, and she wants to, she will, and that's a talent, and that's what it is. So,
we want to say this is when people are making you feel bad about your tendencies or your gifts or your talents or whatever, I just invite you to not take it personally. That is something that I have been learning and implementing into every situation in my life, is that most of the time when somebody is mirroring something back to you, it's them. That's them. Don't take it personally. Don't allow it to dim your light at all. If anything, allow it to make your light shine brighter, and just be able to mirror back to that person that, I mean, it's not you most of the time when people are criticizing you or making you feel, I mean, how many times have I been told, oh, this is a great example. I was with my sisters and I'm playing, you know, my high vibrational music, and they're like, oh, this is Shae. Shae must be playing this. And I could have taken that personally, not listen to that song anymore, internalize that like, oh my gosh, I'm like being made fun of for this song. But no, guess what? Let's play it a little louder. I'm going to dance a
Turn it
little
up.
harder, and I'm going to spread my light and joy anyways. That's you guys.
Yep. Yeah. That's just, you know, goes back to the inner self peace and self-confidence that we all struggle with that. Every single person does. I mean, I feel really confident as a being, and I feel great about who I am, and really peaceful about myself. But I'll wake up a time or two on occasion and just feel bad about myself for random stuff. And it's just because I'm human and I'm living in this human body.
Yeah.
And we're here.
So don't
We
take
have
that personally
vulnerabilities.
either. That's when you can remind yourself, I am just in
Right.
this human body with all these external stimulus being thrown at me at all times. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what could have caused those feelings? Something unconscious that you didn't even realize that got
Anything.
snuck in there.
Anything from my childhood, anything from like a comment someone made once that I just subconsciously like took into myself. It could be I'm comparing myself somehow to someone, or it doesn't matter. Like we all have those thoughts. It's okay to have the thought of inadequacy. It's okay to have the thought of I'm not good enough, or I don't have any talents or gifts.
And it just
What's not okay is to like really internalize that and believe that, because
yeah,
that's not true.
yes.
There's
And
no one who has
I would
nothing.
encourage everyone to do is, when those feelings come, this is a perfect time to explore being the observer. You know, just take a second back, observe these thoughts that are coming through your head, recognize that they aren't you, don't take them personally. Um, if it serves you, you can go down that rabbit hole, right, and see what the root cause of these thoughts are, so that you can uncover and
Right.
overcome those thoughts. But definitely just like becoming the observer, come back to those positive affirmations and realize that you're not your thoughts. You are this pure spirit soul inside of you that is just experiencing this human life. And so your thoughts can't get the best of you. And especially in this world where we have Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and all these things are just being thrown, advertisements, billboards, you go into the store and you see the advertisements. All of this gets internalized into our being, whether we are conscious of it or not. And so just recognizing that a lot of your feelings probably aren't even yours. And especially if you're an empath, something that I have been just learning time and time again is that I absorb the feelings of everybody else, and then I'll be sitting here wondering, why am I feeling anxious? My life is fine. Why am I feeling depressed? My life is fine. That's when I just take a deep breath. I consciously tell my human body, you know, anything that is not yours, please release it. Anything that is not serving me, please release. I do the grounding meditation that I shared with us in the beginning. I grow my roots down into the core of the earth, and I release it to the earth, because the earth is genuinely the best space holder that we have here on this planet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a couple days ago, I was just feeling kind of, I don't know, just sort of off or whatever. And I wasn't even sure. And I just sat and breathed. I literally just pictured, as I was exhaling, taking deep breaths, exhaling, I was exhaling the negative energy out, because it didn't feel like mine. Just like you said, it didn't feel like you could pick that up anywhere.
Yes.
And so I just saw myself letting it go, breathing it out, and it worked. It did feel better. I did feel lighter. Like when you have the feelings, feel them,
Yes.
let them pass through, like try to exhale. And I do recognize that there's some things that are harder to process. If you're in the middle of some grief, if you're in the middle of some type of heartbreak, yeah, that's not something that's easily going to be breathed out in a 10, 30 second, minute, breath session. At the same time, you string those together and it will. And
Yes.
that's really what it is keep coming back to it, coming back to it. Feel the feelings, feel the things that you're supposed to feel about this
Oh,
experience, because you've generated up this contrast for yourself for some reason. I think we talked about this idea of contrast last time, where we don't know what we want or like. So we manifest these situations to show ourselves. So we have this contrast that happens. And I understand that doesn't, when someone does something that hurts us, they take an action. I don't mean to suggest that that's our fault or we made that happen in any way. People make choices. But at the same time, the scenario, the situation that's occurring is something we are going to learn from or not. And we can decide that. So we're having it for a reason. And so we are vibrating to it. And the idea is to go through it. Don't struggle, don't fight it.
yes.
Let yourself feel all the feelings that you're supposed to be feeling and process all those things and breathe through them and go back to reminding yourself about your divine nature and about all those beautiful talents and gifts that you have. And regardless of what happens to you, don't lose that really precious part of yourself. No one can take that away. Only you can actually take that away from yourself. You're the only one that can tell yourself you're not worthy. I mean, someone else can tell it to you, but you don't have to accept that. If you don't accept that, it just bounces right off of you.
Yes.
But a lot of times we're the ones telling ourselves. So when somebody else says it, we take it. You know what I mean? We affirm that instead, and we remind ourselves how we're not great at things and how we can't do it. And we just sink our vibration that much lower. So we got to catch it when we do that. Sometimes we find ourselves doing it without paying attention, right? Where it's like we're so good at holding on to those negative comments or thoughts that people throw our way. And we just, even though if we had, wonderful things, and I could say an hour and a half of beautiful things to you, Shae, and as soon as you hang up with me, somebody says a rude comment to you, and that's what might be carrying throughout your day potentially, if
I,
you're not careful,
I mean, something
right?
that is
If you're not able to like pass it off of you.
something that is so ingrained in our personal gifts, and a way that we have shared them with the world is through our work with survivors of domestic violence. And that just reminded me of, I've heard time and time again from survivors and from people who are experiencing domestic violence that they would rather the physical abuse over over the mental abuse. I mean, it's those words
Right.
that can really stick with you. Bruises heal, words can stick. And so it's really this idea of don't let it stick. And in another episode at another time, I will 100% teach us how to put up our shields. My beautiful mentor and teacher, Debbie Quinn, I love you, taught me that during my first yoga teacher training. And it's something that is so, so, so beneficial. Just put up your shield when that happens, and just recognize that when somebody is treating you in a way that you don't deserve, that it is them making that choice. It's not you asking for it, that you don't deserve that. And put up your shields and protect yourself. You don't have to internalize the words, and you don't have to accept them. Exactly what you said. It's all about, someone says something to you, you can either accept it or you can say, no, I'm not accepting that into my field. And it bounces right back to them.
Right. And that's a talent. That's a talent in itself to be able to do
It's a
that.
It's a
Right.
practice within itself.
It's a practice. It is a practice. It's that idea of walking away, turn
Yeah.
the other cheek. That is something that I have struggled with, is not getting the last word, not throwing that comment out at the last second. You know what I'm saying? And that it's so easy to throw the dart. It's a lot harder to just sit down and shut your mouth. So
And I had this thought earlier too, when we were talking about, you have these bad feelings, right? Or somebody makes you feel some type of way. You're going through a heartbreak, you're going through grief, you're going through just having a rough day. I encourage you, exactly what we've been saying, is just like sit with those feelings. And I heard this phrase of soft addictions, that we all have
okay.
these soft addictions that we go to as coping mechanisms. And so feel what it feels like to not go for, I'm just thinking one of my soft addictions for sure is like cleaning and organizing. When I'm not feeling myself, it's like, okay, well, I can clean up my space and make myself feel better. I can do every single dish in my house and mop and sweep my floors. And it's like, that is me not dealing with the feelings that I'm actually having and distracting myself. So even if you just give yourself 5 minutes a day, I mean, this is why meditation is change your life so dramatically, is give yourself 5 minutes a day to just watch your thoughts. I think so many people have this idea that meditation is like you're sitting quiet, no thoughts. And if I'm not doing that, it's not meditation. Well, no, meditation is sitting there and being with your thoughts. And, there's definitely times where you can go down rabbit holes with the thoughts that are coming up, but just keep coming back to the breath. Notice the thought. If you see yourself trailing off with that thought, just come back to center, come back to your breath. And then just watch what happens, watch what comes up. Because so often we have these unconscious feelings and these unconscious somebody said something to me 10 years ago that stuck with me that I haven't ever dealt with or thought about. Just sit there with yourself for 5 minutes a day with no distractions. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by all these little things that do make you feel better. See what happens. I guarantee that you will discover more and more about yourself. You'll discover more and more about your gifts, and you'll just know yourself better, which is what we're here to do, is to know thyself.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask yourself the really tough questions and be willing to answer them.
Yep.
If something's bothering you, find out why. Why is that really bothering me? Is this my ego? Is this a self-worth issue that was created when I was 7? Is this, what is it that's really got me on this? And
I'm just laughing at this situation, this example that happened. I think it was my birthday, which was last week. I'm 25. Woohoo! But I was eating my breakfast, and with each bite, I was like moaning out of delight from my bite. My food was like so delicious, and Peyton is over there, and I can just see he's like itching. Peyton is my partner, and I was like, "What?" He was like, "Nothing. It's rude. I'm not gonna say it." And I was like, "Oh, you gotta say it now. Like, what is it?" And he was like, "It just really bothers me when you make noises every single bite, every single bite." And I was like, "Okay." And I can see that being annoying from the other side, And I had this moment of like, then I stopped. Eating the way I was doing, and I kind of just like sat there and had this feeling of like I was doing something bad. And then I was like, wait a second, I don't have to take this personally. This is on him. I'm enjoying this. I'm in pure bliss right now. Like, nobody can actually stop me from feeling bliss. Okay, now I'm conscious that I'm making a lot of noises, and that might be disturbing to the other people around me. Now I'm conscious of that, but guess what? I can still enjoy my meal and not make the noise. And so I almost for a second allowed that comment to not allow myself to enjoy my meal. It like literally, but guess what? With my own, took me a solid 30 seconds to just sit there. I put my fork down. I took some time. I internalized what he said. And then I was like, I can allow this to make my experience of this meal go down the drain, or I can take this and I can just turn it and continue this. I was feeling bliss before. I can feel bliss now. Like it really is.
Beautiful.
Take a moment and realize what's really going on.
Respond, don't react.
Respond and react, exactly. So I could have been really that's at that and like, how dare you? It's my birthday. I can't believe you said this at my first meal of the day. Yada yada yada. But nope, just kept it moving.
Yeah. That's kind of the goal, is to get to be sort of unshakable, where you can take the negative thing, you can take the momentary thing that you're perceiving as negative anyway, and keep on going. Beautiful. Yeah.
It literally says, I mean, that is what the path of the yogi really is to have this even mind in pleasure and pain. It's that
Right.
you are unshakable in any situation because you have such a deep connection to this core of you, that this life is impermanent, but I am infinite. And so I do get to continue to be after this life, and each moment is just impermanent, but that's all we actually have is each moment.
Right. There is only now.
There is only now. Be here now.
Be
Be
here
on
now.
purpose.
Exactly.
I would
Exactly.
love to share a quote out of the Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 3, verse 35. And I'll explain a little bit more about what Dharma is. Dharma is basically your purpose for being here. We each have our own unique Dharma. And so the Bhagavad Gita says, it is better to strive in one's own Dharma than to succeed in the Dharma of another. Nothing is ever lost in following one's own Dharma, but competition in another's Dharma breeds fear and insecurity. And so this just really hit me. It hits me every single time I read it, and just reminding myself not to compare myself to other people,
Mm,
but also that my path, my own, I will, the universe will have my back no matter what, as long as I'm living this life on this path of my own Dharma. And this is
yeah.
why it's so important to figure out your gifts and your talents and how can you take those and give them back to the world. If you are looking to live an abundant life, a life of purpose, a life that has you lit up all the time, and you hear us, like you will always have these moments that feel a little bit dark, but as long as you are
Right.
living in this path of purpose to serve other people, to serve yourself, this soulful service, right? You will always be taken care of. You will have everything that you need provided to you because you are providing exactly what you're here to do. And so, how many times have I compared myself on this person is doing it this way, and if I have to do it this way? No, that is not my own Dharma. That's their Dharma. And so, I just love competition in another's Dharma breeds fear and insecurity.
Yeah, I love that. That is so on point, crazily on point, because so many times we do things because other people want us to. I mean, even think about parents sort of facilitating certain talents in their children that they feel are worthy, right? So, like, I want my child to be a sports star, for example, let's say. So, I'm going to put a lot of time and energy into, and my child might be, maybe that's not what they want to do. They don't want that. They're not getting the joy out of it. They're not sparking joy with this thing, but they want to please the parent. So they do it and they end up following a path that really isn't theirs. Same thing goes with like our partner. They might want us to do a certain thing or go a certain way. And we try to please them. We want them to like us. We want them to love us. So we follow a path that's theirs. They're their idea of who we should be or what we should be doing. And we're not following ours. And that's never going to work. And that quote really just brought that out. Just this idea of you're not going to be able to accomplish your life purpose if you're trying to follow somebody else's path. Follow your own path. Know
Yes.
yourself. Do the things that have yourself sparking joy. You know what they are.
Yep.
You have those things for a reason. Those gifts, those talents, those things that you like, those inspirations, they can only really be expanded to their farthest potential if they're yours, if
And
they're the ones that you pick.
and that's why it's so important to cultivate this unconditional love for yourself, and so that you aren't pulled by the need to feel accepted by others. You know, it's beautiful
Yeah,
to have community. Find those people who really light you up and who are on their own path of Dharma that help you along the way for
yeah,
yourself. But at the same time, just remind yourself of the unconditional love that you have for yourself. And that's why it's so important. And that's why I come back to meditation so often, just those 5 minutes to yourself. You have to fill up your own cup before you can fill up others' cup. And so just to cultivate this unconditional love for yourself, to know that whatever it is you're here to do, I'm doing. That is such a beautiful place to be. That is such a beautiful place
Absolutely.
to be. Not to be looking for outside validation, but to know in your own heart that you are doing what you are supposed to be doing. Oh, there's no better place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's lay out some really practical things people can do at this point to get to these realizations or these validations of their own talents. What can you do? What practical everyday kind of steps can you take to do it? So I'll just say the first one is actually just like take action toward your talent. Do something, put some energy into it, and don't hold back. Don't tell yourself that the art you're making isn't good enough for somebody. Don't tell yourself that the food that you made isn't as good as it looks in the cookbook. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do the things and practice the things. And nobody got extraordinary at anything by not trying and not practicing. And that's really what it is. So that's my first suggestion of how to bring this in your life is actually take action and invest in yourself and the tools that'll help you get this talent done. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So if it is something that you need to get or acquire some tools around, do that.
Yeah.
Invest in that so that you can execute whatever it is to the best of your ability.
And I will just tag on to that. My practical advice is to plan unstructured time alone that is
Nice.
purely for creativity. Be with yourself for a minute, look around your space. What do I have available to me? What is my heart feeling called to do? Do I want to go into the kitchen? Do I want to get my coloring books out? Do I want to go lay in the yard? Do I want to move my body? Do I want to sing? Do I want to play music? Whatever it is, allow yourself some unstructured time throughout your day or throughout your week, however much time you have available to you, and really allow that time to be a space where you can just explore your own creativity. That has been something that has really, really helped me in identifying the things that I really, really love to do.
Beautiful. And we've already said this, but the affirmations are so important. Write it down. Write it down. It really locks it in your brain. You can tell yourself, hey, I'm talented. I'm amazing. I'm smart. I'm capable. I'm creative. Write those sentences down and really let yourself accept them and let those things really be concrete. And it'll be that much easier to say it and believe it the
Yes.
more you actually, put it into your brain.
And then, so tagged along to that as well, I would definitely encourage you to just journal and journal what you want your life
Yeah,
to look like. Journal out all
beautiful.
your desires, journal out all your talents and gifts, all of them. I'm good at painting my toenails, I'm good
Right.
at brushing my hair, whatever it is, write it all down, look at it.
And your gratitude for
In
it.
your gratitude, be super grateful for all of these things because we really are blessed. We are truly blessed. And so write it all down
Right.
and then examine it and look at your gifts, look at how you want your life to look like, and how can I use these gifts to serve others so that I can live this life that I want to live. And just
Beautiful.
the sky's the limit. Don't limit yourself. Go as big as you possibly can. And just trust in the process, and trust that it might take years, it might take weeks, it might take a lifetime. It could take an
Yeah.
entire lifetime, but just as long as you're on this path of your dharma and of your purpose, it will come. It will come. Trust and surrender. Trust and surrender.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust, surrender, observe,
And so I'm
and
wondering, Mom, what are some ways that you feel like you tap into your gifts? Like, are there any? I mean, I everything that we are saying, those are things that I do. But I'll just share that one thing that really allows me to remember myself is my every single morning I drink warm lemon water. It's before I do anything else, and I just allow myself as much time as it takes to drink this water just to recognize my own thoughts, think about previous days, think about my upcoming day, just be in the moment. And that really allows me to just kind of like break open this shell of like, how can I serve best? How can I give my gifts to the world today? And that is just, it's, silent meditation for me is something that really, really allows me to like tap into myself. So I'm wondering for you, what does that look like for you?
That's beautiful. Really similar. I like to stay in a state of gratitude. And I heard one time, I can't remember where, before you even put your feet on the floor in the morning, start with gratitude. So I literally, the moment I wake up, I put my feet on the ground and I say, thank you for this day, universe. And I start like that every single day, regardless of what it is I'm doing. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for everything I have, for everything I am. And I start there. And I just start with a moment of gratitude and acknowledgement of everything, so that no matter what comes up in my day, if I start myself out with a really solid, like you were saying, almost grounding and just acknowledgement of everything I have that's so beautiful, I could lose all of that in that same day. But if I have that feeling about me, then I really can't lose it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I had it. You know what I mean? So I'm still grateful for having had it that long. And if I lose it, then I'm supposed to lose it because something better is coming. The universe trying to move something out of the way for me. So it's a thought habit though. I will say that it's something I've cultivated. I've actively cultivated doing that. And that's where I'll go back to what I was talking about, taking the action instead of just waiting for something to happen to feel better. Like I'm just waiting for something or someone to come along that'll change my circumstance or thought pattern or whatever. Nope. It's got to be me. I'm got to be the one to do it. So I'm not going to be able to do it unless I actively take steps to do it. All of these things that we're talking about, as far as like, hey, these practical ideas to put it into your life, we've done it. And that's why we're saying it, because we've actually put these things into place. I've got notebooks full of just random doodles and thoughts and affirmations that mean nothing. And I don't know, someone could look through and be like, what is this? It's just random things because I just, something came to me that day, that morning. A lot of times early in the morning, it's quiet. And I can write all that down. And it's almost as if I have a little universe I'm sort of creating, this little safe space that I create on a daily, so that when I have to get out and go out in the world, I've filled up my energy body with
And now
enough
you're
love
in
and
the safe space. Now you, Shannon, your body is the
yes,
safe space.
yes. Now I'm the safe space, exactly. So that wherever I go, it just bounces off of me because I've spent that time investing in myself, that time, that space to just be and to just thank the universe for my existence and ask for love and protection for myself and everyone I love. And that's really what it feels like. And the more I've done that and the more consistent I've been about that, the easier it's been. And in fact, when I don't get to do that, when I don't get the private, like quiet time to myself in the morning, I miss it.
Yeah.
I really miss it. Do you know what I mean? There was like this thing on this reel on Insta that was really funny where they were talking about like, I only need 8 to 10 hours in the morning and then I'm ready and raring to go for the day or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, there's me. That is 100% me if I could have 8 to 10 hours in the morning. But in reality, most of us, we don't have that. But I'll take an hour. I'll take a half hour if that's what I can get.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Makes all the difference.
5 minutes if that's what I can get. But I don't like to skip it. I don't like to skip it because I just want to be with myself for a second every single morning.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking yesterday how often so many people's days is just responding to everybody else. I got to respond to this person. I got to respond to this person. I have to do this task that this person gave me. You can do those most effectively actually if you respond to yourself first. What are your own needs? Fulfill those basic needs of yourself. Give yourself some time for an even mind, and then you are going to go out and crush all of those. It is just really a matter of
Absolutely.
just giving yourself some peace.
And create a beautiful environment around yourself. And that's the other key to it is your environment. You already talked about the the cleaning and organizing and getting your
We'll have a
actual
whole
physical
podcast
space.
episode on this. We'll have a whole podcast
Yeah.
episode on
Which
this.
I just want to affirm, you've always found like that since a small child. You had the cleanest room, your siblings would have these terrible, messy rooms or whatever, but yours would be spotless. You always have liked it that way. And I also, your environment is about sort of like what physical objects are around you. No doubt about that. But obviously the vibe, your tribe is your vibe, who is around you, what you will allow into your space. All of this is really, really important. Everything is energy. So create those safe, actual physical spaces. And I know that everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have the safe space. And I recognize that. And I know that some struggle with that. So I know I'm so, so grateful to have a safe physical space around me. So for those who can't and have struggled to find physical spaces that are safe, we're with you. We send you some light and love and energy, and just want you to know that it's possible for you to find safe spaces. There's resources out there. That's another, Shae and I've worked in, domestic violence, rape crisis. So a lot of our mindset is really around helping people who don't have the structure, who legitimately don't have the structure to help themselves. So that's why there are services and people out there, all those light workers, all those social workers, all of those systems out there to catch those people, to help them out in those cases.
Yeah, there's always resources available to you. Always.
Absolutely.
And I'm just thinking, like the objects around you, they hold the memories. So if there's, I just think about how ceremonial it can be to get rid of an object that has meant something to you in some way, and just you can make everything a ceremony, and everything can be like this beautiful passage to the next thing,
Yeah.
just as we like change our clothes, we do this every day, right? We're also, when we die, we change these bodies. And so we change situations on the daily. Our lives are consistently changing. So whether it's the end of a relationship, get rid of that object that symbolizes that, because we do have these energetic cords to everything that is in our belonging. All of our belongings, we have these energetic cords to them. And that's why I really subscribe to like minimalism, keeping your space clean, recycling your items, giving them away, cleansing your items, because they do hold all these memories. And so it's super important to just have, if you have the ability to make yourself a safe space, do it, because it will change your life. Just being able to go into, just this couch right here. This is where I drink my lemon water every day, just knowing I have this room.
I'm looking at that blanket behind you that I used to wrap you up in as a baby.
Baby, literally, this blanket has been a safe space for me, and it has come along the adventure with me this entire time. And so, but the cleansing of this blanket has happened, because you know what? It has held a lot of not pleasant memories as well. And so you don't always have to get rid of the object, but just allow that object the time and space it needs to really release as well, because everything is energy.
I'm thinking about Marie Kondo. Remember when we were obsessed with Marie Kondo for a while there? We felt Marie Kondo. If you don't know about Marie Kondo, friends, go find Marie Kondo. She's the one that actually got us to think about, do these objects around us spark joy? What is it? Why do you have that object? Actually think about, why do I have this? What's it doing?
She actually helped me uncover one of my gifts, which is I can hold space for our homes when they are feeling neglected. I can go into somebody's home and really give it the love that it needs. And Marie Kondo, I love you. You really helped me discover that gift. And where other people are like, you're too tidy, you're too rigid in how you have everything. Honey, I am not too rigid. I am perfectly perfect in every way. And I'm here to clean up your space and hold space for your home. So
exactly.
You need some organizational help. It's me.
Right. Okay, so this brings me to an object that I brought to talk about today. I brought this beautiful amethyst here. I'm wearing purple in honor of this amethyst. We want to talk about a crystal. I actually have a really gorgeous amethyst cape, but I'm not really at the angle where I can show it. So I have this little chunk of amethyst here. Amethyst is one of my very favorite crystals. The purple, the violet color really corresponds to your crown, to your, like, this whole top part of your chakra system.
The purple,
right? Your third eye. Exactly. And a lot of times, amethyst is really used as a healing stone. I know that I will, on occasion, you can use it by actually like placing it. This is kind of a big chunk of it, but like placing it on your third eye. Like if you're sleeping, you're laid down when you're meditating, you can put it up there. Put different amethyst around the outside of your body, maybe when you're meditating, just holding on to it. It will bring all of that healing, that calming energy.
And it'll strengthen your intuition. It'll strengthen your intuition, which is so associated with this third eye region.
Absolutely. So like I like to wear it, I have this amethyst ring I wear all the time, and earrings, and bracelets and stuff like that. But I just am so grateful for the gifts that the earth has made for us. I'm just always astounded by the different things that the earth has created, from flowers to crystals to just the beauty of the earth is like so amazing. So I like to surround myself with crystals. That's just, again, kind of going back to the environment and what's around you, and what sparks joy within you.
And it's a beautiful way to activate certain things that you're trying to activate in your energy field. Crystals hold a lot of powerful energy in them, and so just having them surrounding you and having access to them when you do feel, like I have a bit of an intuition block, I feel something coming through, grab your amethyst and really put it to your third eye and just notice what happens. You don't have to take our word for it. Experiment on your own and just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Okay, so I think we're about to wrap up here. Thanks so much for the wonderful conversation today, Shae. I feel like a lot of times when we talk, we just really affirm each other, and we learn so much from just each other, and just calling things out really just helps expand and grow me as a being. So I'm really grateful for that. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you. I feel exactly the same way. And to our dear listeners, I just encourage you, invite you to start these practices that we shared with you to help you really figure out your own gifts, because you are so gifted and blessed. And I'm so honored to share this space of planet Earth with you. And so let's find our paths of Dharma. Let's walk them. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's lift each other up. Let's be one together. The more of us that find our purpose and our gifts, and allow ourselves to serve others with them, the higher that the vibration of this earth goes. And so it is my honor to be this guide with my beautiful mother. And I wish you guys the best and happiest of days.
Absolutely. Please feel free. We invite you to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button. Please leave us a comment.
Any feedback? What do you want to hear?
Anything. Yeah, some suggestions, anything. We are grateful to be able to send you this message today. And we just wish you some love and light and joy.
I love you.
We'll see you next week.
I love you. Thank you. See you next Monday.